Good morning dear students, and I am happy to welcome you all in this new week to my biology class, and today's class is your zoology class, right? So in this class we will be learning the continuation of chapter 4, that is the parts of the nervous system. So in our last class we have started this lesson. So in today's class we will learn in detail what all parts are there in the nervous system. Okay. So in the last class we have already studied about the structure of neurons or a nerve cell. Do you remember what did we study? A neuron will have a cell body, dendrites, branch structures, this long axon. These three parts we have studied, no? The structure of neurons. These neurons are of three types called as sensory neurons, motor neurons and mixed or association neurons. What are the three types of neurons? Sensory neurons, motor neurons and mixed neurons. Why do they have three separate names, or why they are classified into three? Because they are located in different places of your body as well as their functions are different. What did I tell you? They have different location, the place where they are located are different, and also the function what they do, the functions what they do are also different. That's why they are put into three groups. Here you can see the blue one is the sensory neuron, the yellow one is the mixed neuron and the red one is the motor neuron. Okay, blue is sensory, yellow is mixed and red is motor neuron. What can you understand from this picture? These three neurons will be connected like a chain to each other. These three neurons will be connected like a chain to each other. So where it starts and where it ends, it starts with sensory neuron, and this one, the mixed neuron, it's also called as intermediate neuron because it is found in between these two neurons, that is between the motor and the sensory neuron. It is found in between, so it is called intermediate neuron. And after intermediate neuron you have, it ends with the chain ends with the motor neuron. Okay, so this intermediate gets impulses from sensory neurons and gives back to the motor neuron. Okay, so here what you will have and here what you will have, because if there is a nerve, it should be connected to some part of your body, no? So here you will have sense organs. Your eye is a sense organ, right? Similarly your skin is also a sense organ. If you touch, the process will start. Okay, I told you this sensory neuron is connected to sense organs. Okay, so we'll learn where it is present. Sensory neurons will start from the sense organs and ends in the brain or the spinal cord. Actually this intermediate neuron I told you, no, this is present in the brain. So this yellow color structure is present in the brain. So sensory neuron starts, I told you here there will be sense organ, any sense organ. So this sensory neuron is connected to the sense organ and it ends with the brain. Okay, so this yellow color structure, that is mixed neuron, is located in the brain. Brain is the location for intermediate neuron. What about motor neurons? Motor neurons will start from the brain. I told you this is brain, right? So it will start from the brain and end in the muscles. Where are muscles? You have muscles throughout your body. Say for example, you even have muscles in your eyes. That's why you can close your eyes. Your eyelid closes, no? So it is because of contraction of muscles. Okay, so you have muscles in your hands also. I can fold my fingers or stretch my arms because of muscles. So this will start with the sense organ through sensory neurons and reach brain, and then it will pass through. What will pass through? The function of neuron or nerve cell is to pass the impulses, nerve impulses. Are you familiar with this term? In the last class I gave you an example of a mixie, right? What did I tell you? Just like how current passes through the wire and the mixie works, similarly the neurons will act like a wire, and what it will carry? It will carry nerve impulses. Do you remember? So what is passing? It starts from the nerve impulses will start passing through sensory neuron. It will reach brain, and the nerve impulses will reach the muscles through the motor neurons. Okay, I will give you two examples so that you understand better. Before that, I will show you the location of mixed neurons. That is, this one is brain. The function, it will connect sensory neurons with motor neurons. It is like a connector, or it's like a intermediate which will connect sensory neurons and motor neurons. Okay. So now I will give you two examples, you will understand better. The first example I can tell you is, suppose if there is a student in front of me. Okay. So I will take some pen or pencil and bring near the eye of the student. What will happen? The student will close the eyes, right? Why? Because he is scared that his eyes will be hurt. So how he reacts? He will not plan all. Immediately I put something near his eyes, he will close by himself automatically. This is because of all these three neurons. How? I will explain. Okay. What did I tell you? Sensory neurons will start from the sense organs, right? So when I bring something pointed in front of the eyes, the sensory neurons in the eyes, eye is a sense organ, so you will have sensory neurons in the eyes. Okay. So this sensory neuron will sense that there is a danger, and it will start passing the impulses. Impulse is generated and it will reach the brain. Why? Because the function of sensory neuron is to pass impulse from the sense organ to the brain. So now the impulse is carried from the eye to the brain. From the brain, it will pass through the impulses will pass through the motor neurons and reach the muscle. So from my brain, it will get the instruction, close your eyes, there is danger, like that it will get the instruction and it will reach the muscles of my eyes. Okay. So what will happen? The muscles will immediately close, it will contract. So that student will close the eyes. Can you understand? Sense organ, that is the eye, sense that there is danger, so it will pass impulse through the sensory neurons to the brain, and brain will instruct to respond. It will tell the muscles to contract. How it will tell? In the form of impulses from the brain to the muscles. So the end point is muscles, the starting point is sense organ. So which muscles? The muscles of your eyes will close. That's how you respond. The second example I will tell you, if there is heat, if there is a candle, you put your fingers near the candle, take your fingers near the candle. What will happen? The skin is the sense organ, so the sensory neuron in your skin will start passing impulses from the sensory neuron to the brain. Okay, so brain will tell you, take away your hand. Okay, it will give the instruction to the muscles. So through the motor neurons, the nerve impulses will reach the muscle of your hand and your muscles will contract, or it will move, or it will respond. You will take away your hand. Okay, so this is how the neurons in your body react. So this is actually called reflex action, and in detail we will be studying in another topic in the later part of your textbook in your next class. Okay, so just know this is a basic one. There are three types of nervous systems. Already we have studied two types, right, in the introductory part. What are they? They are central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. You have one more called as ANS. So here CNS, PNS, ANS. These are the three types of nervous systems in your body. CNS stands for central nervous system and PNS stands for peripheral nervous system. ANS stands for automatic nervous system. So three types of neurons we have studied: sensory, motor and intermediate neurons, and three types of nervous systems: CNS, PNS and ANS. Okay, already we have studied this. CNS, central nervous system, includes two parts called as brain and spinal cord. These are the two parts of your central nervous system. So in this class you are going to learn in detail about the central nervous system, that is about the brain and about the spinal cord. Okay. So we learn in detail about brain first. So what is brain? Brain is the control center of the body. Why it is called the control center of the body? Your whole body works by the instruction of the brain. Whatever your brain tells you, you do, right? If it tells sleep, you will sleep. If it tells walk, you will walk, or else if it tells sit simply, you will sit simply. So it controls you actually, your brain controls you. So it is called control center of the body. Then it is made up of a tissue called as soft nervous tissue. Actually the name of the tissue is nervous tissue. Your nervous system is made up of, your brain is made up of a tissue called as nervous tissue. What is a tissue? Tissue is a group of cells which have the same function and same location. Tissues are groups of cells, many cells which will have the same function and same location are called tissues. Okay. So these cells, the cells in your brain are all located in the brain and they all do the same function. So it is called as tissue. So the tissue in your brain is called as nervous tissue, and that nervous tissue is soft. So it is written as soft nervous tissue. So what we have studied? First of all, brain is the control center of the body because it controls all the activities of your body. The second point is, what is the name of the tissue present in the brain? It is called nervous tissue and it is soft in nature. We have studied that your brain is soft in nature. Okay, so it has to be protected. The brain has to be protected. So three parts of your body actually protects your brain. What are those three parts? The first part is called as skull. The skull protects your brain. Okay, see which is the brain here? You can see brain here. No, they have broken the skull and shown in the picture. Okay, so this is the brain. Here this is the skull and this is the brain. Here this is the skull and this is the brain. So it is like a helmet to your brain, right? Skull is like a helmet to your brain so that your brain is safe inside the skull. So what did I tell you? There are three parts in your body that will actually protect the brain. The first part is called skull. So skull is like a helmet protecting your brain. In this picture this is the skull and in this picture this is the skull. So your brain is safe. The second part which protects your brain is called as meninges. What is that? Meninges. Meninges is nothing but they are membranes. Okay, it is a soft skin called as membrane. There are this meninges is comprised of three membranes of skin. It is shown in this picture. See, one is in yellow color, other one is in blue color and the other one is in red color. So this yellow one membrane, blue is second membrane and red is third membrane. So these three membranes together is called meninges. So inside you have the brain. So immediately after the brain there is something called as meninges. What is this meninges? Meninges is three-layered membrane. Meninges means three layers of membrane. This one also protects your brain. First one, skull protects your brain. Second one, meninges protects your brain. And the third one, you have a liquid called as cerebrospinal fluid. What is that? Cerebrospinal fluid is the third protective structure in your body to protect the brain. What is the first one? Skull protects your brain. Second one, meninges protects your brain. And the third one, cerebrospinal fluid. It's actually a liquid. Okay. So these three will protect the brain. How it protects? It protects by three ways. Okay. Number one, it protects from damage. Any damage to your brain is prevented by all these three: skull, meninges and cerebrospinal fluid. And then it protects from shock. If there is some shock also, the brain should tolerate, no? For that also, this especially this one, cerebrospinal fluid, protects the brain from shock, from damage. See, it is actually suspended inside a liquid. There is a liquid like portion. It is called cerebrospinal fluid, where you can see it is in between the meninges. In between the meninges you can see a fluid like structure. It is called cerebrospinal fluid. So because the brain is inside a fluid like structure, it is protective and it is escaping from any damage or shock or injuries. Of course, if you meet with an accident or your skull is broken and your brain is damaged, but to some extent mild injuries all can be prevented because of the presence of cerebrospinal fluid. So what we have studied here: brain controls your body. Brain is made up of a tissue called as nervous tissue, and this tissue is very soft, and so it has to be protected, and it is protected by three parts, that is skull, meninges and a fluid called as cerebrospinal fluid. So again, there are three parts in your brain. So we will study the structure of the brain. Your brain is made up of three parts. What are those three parts? Cerebrum, cerebellum and medulla oblongata. I think you must have studied even in your class 3 or something, these three parts, right? What are they? Cerebrum, cerebellum and medulla oblongata. So here, this pink color portion, can you see? This is the cerebrum. The biggest portion of the brain is cerebrum. Then the yellow color portion is called cerebellum. Okay, and this stick like structure, gray color, this is called medulla oblongata. So pink color, big cerebrum, yellow color cerebellum, and the stick like portion called as medulla oblongata are the three main parts of the brain. Okay, your brain is made up of these three parts only. So you should know what is their function. So as I told you, cerebrum is the largest part. How you can see, no, the pink color region is the largest among the three. So it is the largest part of your brain. Most of your brain is occupied by the cerebrum only. And then it is actually divided into two hemispheres. This cerebrum is divided into two portions. One is called left hemisphere and the other one is called right hemisphere. Okay, so what did I tell you? Cerebrum is largest part of the brain. It is divided into two parts. One is called left hemisphere and the other one is called right hemisphere. And then it is made up of grooves and ridges. See, if you see the surface of the brain, it is not polished, right? In your school lab also you can see preserved brain. Okay, so you can see grooves on it. What is groove? Ups and downs. It will not be a smooth surface. You will have many grooves. Okay, actually the fact is, if there are many grooves in a person's brain, that person is considered to be very intelligent. So an intelligent person will have so much of grooves, ups and downs, grooves and ridges you call them, grooves and ridges. If you have many ups and downs in the structure of your brain, it means that your memory is very good as well as you are so intelligent. Okay, so the grooves and ridges decide how intelligent a person is or how much a memory a person has. And then this part of the brain is responsible for voluntary actions. What is voluntary action? There are two actions in your body. One is called voluntary action, which you can decide and do. Okay, only when you decide to walk, you will start walking. When you decide to sing, you will start singing. That is a voluntary action. Whatever you decide and do, that is called voluntary action. Some actions in your body are involuntary. What is that involuntary? Involuntary means it is not in your control at all. Say for example, your heartbeat. Can you control your heartbeat? No, right? So it is an involuntary action. Without your control, it will start or it will stop. Okay, the day it stops, we are over, right? So it is an involuntary action. Another involuntary action is peristalsis. Peristalsis means the food you eat is entering into your stomach, no? How does it enter? Do you push with a stick? After dumping into your mouth, do you push with a stick? No, right? It itself will move slowly towards your stomach and your intestine. All how it moves, that movement is called as peristalsis. That is also not under our control. So peristalsis is also an involuntary action. So I mean to tell, all voluntary actions, all the voluntary actions are controlled by this part of your brain, that is the cerebrum. Okay, some examples are given for voluntary actions. Speech, what you speak, you decide and speak, right? And thoughts, what you think is under your control. If you think that you should stop thinking about something, you can stop, it's your decision. And then hearing, sight, sight is to see. Smell, if you don't like to smell something, you can even close your nose. It's under your control, so it is a voluntary action. So cerebrum we have studied, it is the largest part. It is made up of two portions. One is called right hemisphere and the other one is called left hemisphere. It has many grooves and ridges, and the grooves and ridges decides your intelligence and memory. And then all the voluntary actions which are under your control is carried away by this part of your brain. Okay, so the next part is cerebellum. There is only one function for this part. It maintains the body balance. Suppose you are about to stumble, you stamp on something accidentally, and if you are about to stumble, what you do? You try to balance and stand straight, right? So this balancing ability is because of the presence of cerebellum in your brain. So the function of cerebellum is it maintains balance in your body. Not only this physical, there are also some chemical coordination in your body, like whenever there is a increase in salt, it can try to balance. Whenever there is increase in water in your body, it will release out in the form of urine. So it can also control those activities inside your body also. And also you can be in control of the physical factors, like suppose if you are about to stumble, you can adjust and try to stand straight, right? So that control is all because of cerebellum. The last one is called medulla oblongata. The stick like structure, no, that is called medulla oblongata. It has another name called as brain stem. It is like a stem, right? So it is called as brain stem. And I told here cerebrum controls all the voluntary actions, right? So medulla oblongata controls all involuntary actions. I told you heartbeat is a involuntary action, peristalsis is a involuntary action, breathing is also a involuntary action. You can also tell, I can control breath, but how long will you control breath? You cannot hold your breath for after some time, after a few seconds you cannot hold your breath, right? So it is also a involuntary action. So medulla oblongata's function is, it is called by a name called as brainstem, and then it is responsible for all the involuntary actions of your body like heartbeat, peristalsis and breathing. So these are all the functions of the parts of the brain. So finally, let's study about the structure of a spinal cord. What is the spinal cord? You know already in my previous class I told you it starts from the back of your neck and reaches till the hip region. Okay, it is like a long cylindrical structure. What explanation is given in your book? Where does it start? It starts from medulla oblongata. We have studied medulla oblongata as brain stem. Do you remember in the previous slide I showed you the structure of medulla oblongata and you had a stem like structure, no? So that is the exact place where the spinal cord starts. Okay, so where does it start? It starts in the brain stem of your brain. That is medulla oblongata. How is the structure? You can see this pink color, no? The central pink region is the spinal cord. Okay, so how it is? It is cylindrical in structure. It is like a cylinder. Okay, then how it is protected? How the spinal cord is protected. It is protected by, see here, you have some outer structure, right? It is called as vertebral column. So, centrally you will have spinal cord. The pink color rod like structure is the spinal cord, and it is protected by a structure called as vertebral column or spine. Where is the vertebral column? You can see small feather like structure, no? So, this is called as vertebral column or spine. So, the spinal cord is safe or it is protected by a structure called as vertebral column, which covers the central spinal cord. And then what are the functions of the spinal cord? It has three functions. Number one, it transmits sensory impulses from the organs to the brain. So, you have studied about sensory neurons, right? So, what do? They transfer impulses from organs, that is your sense organs, to the brain. And the second function is it also transfers or conducts motor impulses from the brain to the muscles. That is, the function of motor neurons will transfer impulses from brain to muscles, right? That is controlled by the spinal cord. And finally, it is the control center of reflex actions. So, spinal cord is the control center. It controls reflex actions. What are reflex actions? Actions which you cannot control by yourself are called reflex actions. Say, for example, the winking of your eye. Do you plan and close your eyes or open your eyes? No, by itself it is involuntary and it happens by itself. So, and also when you touch a hot object, you take off your hand because it is a involuntary or reflex action. So, these actions are all controlled by which organ? The spinal cord. So, these are all about spinal cord. Then about today's, before I announce about today's homework, let me declare who is the winner of the previous homework allotted to you. Actually, one person sent me the first answer, but that answer was partially correct. Why partially correct? The question was whether it is true or false, and the answer for that is false, right? And you are expected to write the correct answer if the statement is false. No, that's what is given in your textbook. If the answer is false, rewrite with the correct word. So, the first person who sent me the answer, he is Jebin, and he has sent me only the answer as false. So, I cannot consider that as the first right answer. Okay, why? The question is rewrite with the correct answer. So, the person who rewrote the correct answer, who first sent me was Candy Emmanuel. Okay, so good. And for today's homework, in page number 71, you have to answer question number 2. Write the answer and WhatsApp me in this number. So, that's all for the class for today. Until I meet you in my next class, you all take care. Bye bye.